We know that almost every chord progression in gospel music comes from some type of 2-5-1 chord progression. And when I say 2-5-1, I'm talking about the second interval of the major scale, the fifth interval of the major scale, and back to the first interval of the major scale. Before I go any further, you know what I'm going to say? Go check out gospelprogressionsuniversity.com and download my free guide, What Do Pro Musicians Know That You Don't? The reason why we like to use a 2-5-1 chord progression is because of the strong pull that it has. So, of course, B flat in the key of A flat would be 2. A flat is 1, B flat is 2, C is 3, D flat, E flat is 5, F is 6, 7 is G, and then of course back to 1. Now, when you're playing something, right, and you're listening to music, or you're coming up with some talk music, or you're trying to learn a song for church or whatever it is, whatever venue you're playing at, you're gonna play what you know. You just can't grab chords from the stratosphere and and just have it come unless God just somehow miraculously gives you ability. Now we have to practice, and we'll practice what we know. We tend to do that because it's what's comfortable to us. And you start off learning the piano and you'll learn what's, the major scale. However, what if we took what we know and expanded on that? So now let's just pretend all we know is the major scale. So when I say diatonic, if I haven't explained it already, it just means everything in A flat, or the key that you're playing in, proper. We're not doing any sharps or any flats. So now we know this, we're good to go with our major scale. So we've also learned that, okay, well, 2-5-1s are chord progressions that are used a lot in jazz and in gospel. So now, right, we have a 2-5-1 and all we know is our major scale. So it would sound something like this. We have a 2-5-1 would be B flat, 2, and then we go to E flat, 5, and then 1, okay? And that's very common, but we can do some other things to that. Now say we still are gonna stay diatonic, or stay true to the actual key that we're in, right? So now we're gonna go to the 2 again, but this time we're gonna try to spice it up a little bit, right? So we take the 2 now, and I'm gonna live life on the edge. I'm gonna do a minor 7, all right? B flat minor 7, or I'll play it like this, B flat minor 7, and then E flat dominant 7, and then a major, all right, a 1. Now, that can give us a little bit more color, but we're still playing within the scale diatonically. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's sometimes that you want to have a diatonic sound or something that is true to the key that you're playing in. But it can quickly become very monotonous and very, very boring, honestly, because you're playing the same things over and over again, unless that's what you're getting paid to do. There's some circumstances where you want to keep it that way, but to create interest in what you're trying to do, you want to borrow, or you want to understand and use some harmony. So where would you get a harmony from? Where are you going to pull one from? Like I said, unless God gave you some kind of miraculous revelation, you have to understand that, like I always say, scales make up chords. Chords come from scales. So whenever we play a scale, we have a major scale, we're going to be playing a series of chords that go along with that scale. A flat, of course, would be A flat 1. B flat, would be minor, or you can actually play a C. C would be minor, major. Okay, major, then we have minor, and then we have diminished, and then back to 1 in A flat. Now, how are we going to get substitutions? Or how are we going to play something else outside of the key of A flat and still maintain the harmony? And that's what we're looking for. So we know we have our A flat major, right? So we said that we'll take, instead of just playing a minor 2, we play a 7, okay, or minor 7 for the 2, and then a dominant 7 for the 5, and back to the 1. That's our basic. So if we took something else now, let's build something that we are using a different scale. I'll show you 2 scales. I've showed you at least one of these before. Now we know that A flat major has a minor 6 in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is your minor chord. So let's say now we wanted to just kind of take something else and harmonize with that. So our first thing we're going to look at, we have to understand scales and how they apply in what we're trying to do. We know our major, right? You know your major, you got it down. You got it rock solid in every key, all 12 keys. Now what we're going to do is do something else. Being that we have a minor 6, let's expand that a little bit. So here's our F minor. Now we can do this. You're like, wait a minute, bro, where'd these come from? Now, I told you, this here harmonizes with the rest of those notes. Just like we have A flat that harmonize diatonically, they all harmonize with one another. We can play just about anything, and come up with some kind of melody that would harmonize, but we want to get out of that. So now we have each chord can actually harmonize with something else that's outside. So the first chord we're going to use, like I said, is your F minor. So we know that this scale here, these notes that are not in A flat work with F melodic minor, rather, not just F minor, F melodic minor. So we have our melodic minor. And what we can do, we can actually move some things around. So with the melodic minor scale, just like with the major scale for A flat, there's chords it's comprised of, it's made up of, or vice versa. Like I said, they're interchangeable. So we look at the 1, 2, 3, the fourth chord. What is the fourth chord? The fourth chord is, we have a major, right? So for the B flat of A flat major would be the 2, right? 1, 2. So, but we have a minor. It kind of presents a problem here, right? If we wanted to substitute that, well, it doesn't. Because many times the 2-5-1 chord progression is so strong, the pull is so strong, even if you substituted just some of the notes in there, the air is still going to want to resolve to that. And that's the whole point of music. You want to create enough tension to build the release. The problem with playing something like this, there is some tension, but sometimes you want more tension. And again, when I say the problem with, I don't mean that it's a problem to play a regular old 2-5-1 chord progression, but sometimes you need that extra tension. You want to build it up for a variety of reasons. Now, we're going to go to our 2 chord again, which would be the fourth chord of F melodic minor. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. So we could do this technically. Say, well, all right, we're looking at F minor, which is in F melodic minor scale and also A flat major. So now we took that and we said, all right. So now we took that and we say So now if we took that and we said B flat major, we could do that as well. Normally with the 2-5-1 chord progression for a major 2-5-1 chord progression, which is slightly different from a minor 2-5-1 chord progressions, they're all 2-5-1 chord progressions because the numbering is the same. The chords, the notes are slightly vary, but for our intents and our purposes here, we're going to stick with the major 2-5-1. So, right, I don't necessarily want to do just this, all right? What we'll do, we'll take a song that we all know. I Won't Complain, right? Actually, the chord progression I'm going to show you could be for a million other songs, but we'll do it in A flat, and I'll show you how that F melodic minor scale works, and the other scale I'm going to show you in a moment. So we're looking at everything diatonic in A flat major, right? So, and then we just, right? We can end it just right there. So now let's say we wanted to move on from that. Just a 2 minor, right? Or minor 9, because you have your C, 8, 9, and then we go 2. And we resolve it back to the 1. So now, like I said before, we could do the dominant, or rather the major chord that we got from our F melodic minor, right? So we can do this. Kind of sounds kind of weird to me. Here's the thing though. We don't have to keep that B flat minor. If I didn't mention that already, it doesn't have to stay minor because it pulls very strong to the 5. 2, all right, 5, and you go back to your 1. But we know that F minor is in, the chord F minor is a 6th chord of A flat major. But what about these other notes? If it harmonizes with this, it can harmonize with A flat as well. The friend of my friend can be my friend too, so to speak, right? So now, instead of doing just the B flat major to E flat dominant back to the 1, we can still do that, keeping our melody. So we can do a chord progression that would sound like this when we change the bass a little bit. And we're borrowing from that F melodic minor. We can go 5, 1, or sharp 11, sharp 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th is your 11, all right? 5 and 1, or if you want to say flat 5, flat 5, 5 and 1. And then we can do some things with that chord, that scale. We have, we said F minor in it. We also have C major. So we also have, oh, I forgot, we have B flat dominant here. So we can take that, the B flat dominant. We can do this. can do this. Or we can just do this. We can take it now and take it a step further. So we can take in our right hand, play a C, because the C is a part of that F melodic minor, right? Sorry. So now we can do this. All right. See what I did there? We have the tritone here, D and A flat. Okay, and then we can play this chord on top of here, the C, that's in F melodic minor. Okay, and there's a bunch of different things you can do, but I want you to understand that this is our first substitution using F melodic minor. Back to the diatonic of A flat. All right. Now we can take it a step further. So now we have this progression here. We can move and progress to change the E flat. The E flat can also be changed to something else because, again, dominant chords can take you all over the place. You can do all kinds of substitutions. So I'm going to show you something simple. So remember, we have our F melodic minor, right? That's the first scale outside of A flat diatonic. Diatonic is sticking to that same key that now we know we can use with something else. So we're leaving it now, you can see. A lot of times you'll play scales that harmonize with other scales, and this is how you can do runs and licks and tricks, but we're gonna rein this back in. I don't want my ADD taking control. So, all right, we can do, and I showed you this in another video too. We can do this. Instead of just going to the 5. In fact, this gets very interesting, and I'm gonna continue this in another video that talks about some popular changes using the same chords and the same scales. So, well, where's this coming from? You know, well, this D flat is in the F melodic minor, so we're changing something. Again, we have another scale now, all right, that harmonizes with A flat major. This scale here I'm going to show you is called the A flat harmonic major scale. So A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, E, G, and A flat. Okay, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, back to 1. So this here, you probably can see that already if you're paying attention. F melodic minor, A flat, harmonic major. All right. That's where we would end it. So that's another rendition of our 2-5-1. Again. In the next video, I'm going to actually show you a movement that we can do that it's a gospel turnaround. So using that same, all right, and I mean, there's other chords that we can do going following that, but I don't want to give it all away because it's outside of the scope of this video. So a little cliffhanger there for you. If this has helped you any, go check out gospelprogressionsuniversity.com/Gospel Keys Pro and download my free guide, What Do Pro Musicians Know That You Don't? God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.